to you, Mr. Paisley, for allowing me to contribute very briefly to this important debate. I was intending just to intervene, but if I've got a couple of minutes, I will take advantage of them. Thank you. I think the petition which the Honourable Lady spoke to, and I apologise to her for not being here for her speech, I think was stimulated by some of the campaign groups with whom I'd been working in relation to my private member's bill back in previous year. And it reflected, as has been said by other members this evening, the very widespread sense of growing awareness and horror at the state of our rivers as a consequence of the uncontrolled dumping of sewage into river systems by water treatment works and the water sewage system, which has just been overwhelmed for a whole variety of reasons. And I'd just like to touch on two this evening, which I think are really important for us to take this forward now that the Environment Act has become a law. And I have to say I completely disagree with the suggestion that the amendment that was finally entered into the bill was as described by the Honourable Gentleman, with whom I have a lot of time for normally. But he's just wrong, I'm afraid. He's just simply wrong that the measures in the bill will lead, in the Act, will lead to a progressive reduction in sewer discharges, which will be enforceable in the way that my honourable friend had described earlier, and as I described in the closing stages of the Lord's considerations. I'd like to touch on two things, one raised by my right honourable friend, member for Basingstoke, and that is we will have a planning bill before us before long. The planning bill has to include proper separation of surface and foul water systems for new developments. It is the water running off hard standing in all new developments across the country, which will, through the right to connect, has the opportunity to be connected into foul water drainage systems, which is leading to this overwhelming quantity of water causing the problems in the treatment works, which have not been expanded to cope with the development that we've had over the last 60 years or so. This is a problem that all successive governments have contributed to by not investing enough in the infrastructure of our drainage systems. So the right to connect needs to be dealt with. It needs to be dealt with also through having the SUD system to require separation by developers. And I think that developers need to be able to contribute to the capital costs of infrastructure works under the ground, which at present they don't. They have to contribute to the connection charge, but not to the capital works which would allow full separation to take place for new developments. And I think that is essential. And finally, Mr. Paisley, I'd just like to encourage the government, the Minister, who's I do pay tribute to the work that she's put into this to improve the Environment Act as it went through the Lords in particular, that the priorities of Ofwat need to be adjusted. She's got the opportunity through the forthcoming strategic pricing, the SPS for Ofwat, to be able to encourage them to focus no longer just on leakage and keeping bills down, but on keeping sewage out of our rivers by investing more in the treatment network for which our water companies are responsible.
Kerry McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. Paisley. A pleasure